I stayed in this tiny little Peruvian town, miles up in the high country last night. I don't know why it's so clean. I've got no idea what is going on here. I found this little homestay which is very, very comfortable, very normal. This is exactly the sort of accommodation I stay in for many nights. They've all got private facilities, very clean, simple. It's about $10 Aussie. It's actually very nicely built in terms of comfort. And I actually went nearly an hour past here, and I decided to turn around and come back because it was late afternoon. I still had at least another 2 hours, maybe even 3 hours to the next town. And by the time it gets to that hour of the day, I'm thinking, well, what's the next town going to be like? There's all these sort of doubts start to creep into your mind. I hadn't seen any fuel for ages. There's no fuel in this town, for example. The road had deteriorated into a little more than a goat track. There was cars driving along it, but there was a lot of mud. It was pretty untidy, actually. Very, very curvaceous. Lots of sheer drop-offs straight down. It was all fun and all that, but when you get there at the end of the day, what are you going to find? What if there's no accommodation? Big problemo. So I made the decision to head back down the hill, and it was great because I was very tired and actually had a long sleep, and I'm ready to go again. Well, this is a serious hive of activity here. There's hundreds of boats. They are all Persane boats, which run a wall of mesh around the school of fish, and then draw it into the bottom, so it's like a big soup bowl. The fish are housed within, and then the fish are manhandled onto the boat and come along here to unload. I think they're pilchards. I'm not 100% sure, but I've heard about this Peruvian fishery. There's fishing ports all the way along the coast here for hundreds and hundreds of miles, and it is a very, very rich fishery that supports a lot of wildlife and a lot of people. And it's amazing to see this happening. I can't get onto the wharf actually, but it's certainly all happening here. This is a big deal. Well, I'm about halfway down Peru, still in the highlands, a town called Ushuaia. That's how it looks anyway on the map. I'm sure you don't pronounce it like that though. And I'm staying at yet another hostel. By the way, it's very unusual to see dorms in these hostels now. Almost everything is single room with private facilities. The price is always about the same, 10, 15 bucks Aussie, slightly dearer in the cities. And I just wanted to show you the shower setup. The bathrooms are always very neat and tiled. They're very comfortable, quite Spartan. Now this is the shower situation. This is very normal. It's electric powered. The wires just come out of the wall, taped together, all very basic. And here we have the trip, the electricity trip. So if the hot water doesn't work, you've just got to find where this is and turn it back on. Make sure you're standing in your rubber shoes, of course, not on a wet tiled floor. And away she goes. The temperature is not adjustable. Oh, it may be, but I don't know where it is. And you can get a warm shower of sorts. And that's how they do it here. It probably draws 3, maybe 4 kVA, which is a huge amount of power really, but it's only for a couple of minutes. And that's the easiest way out of it for them, and seems to work pretty well. As long as there's no short. Well, yesterday I had a fantastic day's riding, one of the best days riding in my life actually. It started off in the Peruvian high country on a very well detailed road with a reasonable amount of traffic, going through unbelievably spectacular scenery. It's just fantastic, just mile after mile after mile of these huge tall mountains and big vertical falls, snow-capped peaks, magnificent vistas. And then I got to a town, and I was going to a particular place, had to go off that road, and the road deteriorated very rapidly indeed. A lot of these roads follow rivers, and I'm following a river through a really narrow chasm. The road deteriorates into a lot of potholes. If you've only driven in first world countries, you can't possibly imagine what this is like. Probably at least a third of the road is composed of potholes. So you're just weaving in and out of and going through potholes all the time, various sizes. And the road is never straight. You very rarely get into fourth gear. It's usually second or third. First gear for hairpin turns, and quite big sections of the road are mud. Where it's been raining, where it hasn't been raining, it's just clay, sand, rock, shale, crud. Something that the Kawasaki handles really well. About every 10 minutes there's a waterfall. Quite often the waterfall's running across the road. It's a river, basically, creek, and that's right on a right-hand turn, so you have to be able to slow right down, stay on your side of the road and negotiate the bike while turning through mud. That's a challenge. And then as you go through these numerous mountain villages, there's just hazards for Africa. There's pigs. There's Mum the Sad with all the little piglets just wandering around everywhere. I was going along, one pig's coming out on the road, and a big pig, Mum. And there's a little guy on the other side of the road, just chucks a handful of rocks at the pig. The pig grunts and goes back to his side of the road. There's a lot of cows, there's goats, there's sheep, and there's dogs. The dogs here are quite well fed, unlike Central America, and about 25% of them will come and basically attack the bike. I ran over one the other day, lucky not to fall off. Didn't kill it. I don't think it broke any bones. The dog ran away yelping. And but the trouble is, you don't know which 25% are going to have a go at you. The other 75% are quite benign. They're the ones that have already been hit and got away with it. So there's these dogs coming at you, pigs, potholes, mud, kamikaze pedestrians. the roads are very, very narrow. It's very, very difficult trying to pass. Some of the car drivers seem to want to be boy racers and heroes, but one way or another, you've still got to get past them, and that's a difficult task. That's where I do use the horn a bit actually, and use the acceleration of the Kawasaki, which is not great, to pass these cars. And in amongst all this chaos, all this tremendous confusion, now this particular section of road was about 100 miles. Now, when I start out on a mission like this, I have no idea what I'm going to find. I got no idea if there'll be a bed at the other end, fuel along the way, you know, whatever. And much less the condition of the road, because the road I'd been travelling on was fantastic. Even though it was very windy, you could still average a reasonable sort of speed. Well, as it turned out, this road I knew was going to be about 100 miles, but I didn't know that it was going to take me well over 4 hours to actually do it. So I was averaging, you know, barely 20 miles an hour. And that included a couple of stops for head scratching, you know, where am I? There was no fuel, of course. And in amongst this tremendous chaos of hazards being thrown at you all the time, somehow it just all kind of gelled in and smoothed out. And it was actually great, because I realised after a little while I was in the zone, and it's just the most fantastic feeling when you're in the zone on a motorbike. You don't have to be going crazy fast, but you have to be going crazy fast for the conditions, basically. And I don't know, averagely, I don't know, it's probably averaging bloody, I don't know, maybe up to about 40 miles an hour on some of the faster sections, but the average coming right down lower than that. And somehow everything in your mind slows down, and you've just got an overall picture, and you know there's a pig there, and there's a dog there, and there's a big pothole there, and there's some kamikaze driver there, and something else happening over there. It doesn't matter. Your mind just takes it all in. And at no stage did I get untidy. And anyone who's pushed it a bit knows exactly what I'm talking about. Being in the zone, it's a really, really great feeling. And unfortunately, you can't get there by being a goody two-shoes. You have to go out of your comfort zone, and you have to be pushing yourself. And that's the only thing that's going to make you a better rider. It's getting outside your comfort zone and getting into the zone. And when you're there, you'll really know it. It's just great.